Please request our principal sir, Professor Dr. Amita Joshi, and our guest speaker, Professor Lokhinarayan Sharpati, for the LMS sir to kindly come up on the stage, please. Lokhinarayan.
Thank you, sir. May I now please request Dr. Nagesh Pal, Assistant Professor, Department of Geography, Institute, to felicitate our principal, sir. Can you have the applause? May I now please request our faculty, Mr. Shobhra Vishwakarma of our department, to kindly felicitate Professor Lokhinarayan Sharpati, sir. The token of love from our side. Thank you so much. May I now please request our principal, sir, to kindly deliver the message. Sir, please.
Good morning, everybody. Today we have one lecture series that is by the Department of Geography under the Aegis of Internal Quality Assurance. And we are really happy and honored to welcome Dr. Lokhinarayan Sharpati sir. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on college. And I hope that our students, it is a great opportunity in front of them that they get the opportunity to listen from him. And I want to congratulate also the Department of Geography for arranging seminar in such an important topic. Right now, in the 21st century, it is the most vital and challenging thing to think about our climate, about our environment, about our planet. So I want to thank also the Department of Geography to arrange lecture series to empower our students regarding the climate changes and its impact on our society and our total environment in our planet. And our other teachers were present here and the my dear students. I hope that after this welcome address, you will enjoy the celebration of that and you will be enlightened after hearing this celebration. Right now, just a few days back, 22nd April, we have observed Earth Day in our college. And the objective of celebration of Earth Day to promote the harmony with the nature and our society. This is the main objective. And right now, you all know, we the students and the common people, we have to think about our planet only because our policy maker, our government right now, they are very busy to deal with the other topics, the other things. So we have the habitat of this planet, and you all know there is no other planet B. So we have to think about the health of our planet, how to protect and preserve our planet, what the benefit of human being for. And I want to mention the one quote of Mahatma Gandhi that the protect that this planet will receive not the intelligence from our ancestors. We have to our ancestors are beloved. Actually, this is the loan from our children, and we have to hand it over to our next generation. At least what we have received, at least we get from this. This is the concept of the sustainable development. The most widely and common definition, you know, the sustainable development. the present things without compromising the benefit of the next generation. This is the concept of the sustainable development. And if you see, I just want to share one important thing with all of you. That is, human species get 2-3 lakh years to reach the 1 billion mark in the year 1804. अगर तो 4 साल में हम लोग 1 billion population में reach किया, and after 123 years to double our population, that is in the year 1927 we reached into 2 billion population, that is 200 crore. And from 1927 till now 2025, we multiplied our number more than 4 times. Right now, the population of this world is 800 crore, more than 8 billion. So you can imagine the last 200 centuries, the tremendous growth of our population. So you can understand the requirement, the need of our food, our urbanization requirement, our shelter requirement, food requirement, clothing requirement. So we can't ignore about the concept of economic development, industrial revolution, and thanks to the science and technology that we have a green revolution. After the green revolution, we reduce the poverty to self-sufficient, to become self-sufficient in terms of food security also. So we can't ignore about the industrial revolution and the economic development also, because we have to fulfill the need of huge number of population. You all know that our country is over 8 सबसे ज़्यादा population है, and at the age of this century, we will be the highest populated country of this world. So we have to regard the fulfillment of the food requirement as well as shelter requirement, clothing requirement. So industrial revolution, urbanization, economic development is inevitable also. But what we have to do, the most important thing is to do right now, we have to find a balance between economic development and the social development. We have to find a balance between the two things also. And the development actually allows, but it is very connected with the term the industrial revolution. So after the industrial revolution, the European they understood that with the industrialization, the urbanization, so there are so many social and ecological imbalances around in our world. So we have to think, we have to radically change our thinking about the sustainability, about the preservation of our planet also. So, but unfortunately, despite the many assets of our many things we can restore to our planet. So, if we see some statistics about our countries, that one population index published by the Yale University, they are ranked in the 170 and 176 mark out of 180. So it is the condition in another research conducted by the Michigan University. They published a list of 100 most populated polluted cities, and out of the 100 cities, 74 cities are from India. So we can see the actual scenario, and the important thing is that the one survey just recently done, the people who are right now residing in the Delhi NCR, they have cut down their life expectancy by 11.5 years. So you can imagine why we are thinking about the sustainable development. Right now we are enjoying the free air, water, we are in this soil. So these provide this, all these things provided by our climate. But what will be the scenario after 50 years or 60 years for our next generation? And one thing what I have told right now, that our government they may be thinking about some different things because you whenever you want read newspaper, see the social media and the electronic media also. During the election campaign, has a platform any politician related regarding the environment protection or anything. There is no such issues they are raised about protection of the environment. Because what I have told you, they are really for some of the critical things or maybe more important things. But we as the common people, we have to protect our environment. So this type of seminar is very important for our students to make awareness how to protect our environment, how to protect our planet, because the our climate is determines the everything that we have the deciding here in Asansol. The after our Asansol, if you see the Asansol demographic situation and the economic condition, our Asansol especially depends on the coal. So if the extraction is going in the same stage or the same day, within the 50 years, 60 years, the coal reserve will be exhausted. This part will be the economic scenario for us and so on. So you have to think about the other renewable sources of energy like the coal, like the solar energy, like the wind energy, like the hydropower energy. But those people like us, those who are working in the ground level, the situation is quite different. You know, the government, they already announced the different incentive scheme for introducing the renewable source of energy, for optic renewable source of energy. So, as a institution, I think this is our responsibility also to come forward to make aware of the normal people. So, our total electricity consumption right now per day is 80 kilowatts. Okay. And right now we are producing 85 kilowatts solar energy. But one thing, what we have studied or read in the news that the government giving incentive, government regarding the institution or individual also to promote some type of renewable source of energy, of the renewable source of energy. But unfortunately, last 1 year we have implemented extra solar panels. We are producing. We have a app also. Every day data is there that we are producing this much amount of electricity. But near about 1 year, we have applied to the government or electricity department to installation of the net metering for getting benefit of the solar energy. But till date, earlier they informed us that the one place of the high road is going up. So I searched in the internet and to the field and say to them that case already resolved. Okay, उसकी पहले खत्म हो गए. So that means electricity was discouraging us to install the net metering. And right now, whenever we hear that matter, the whole case तो solve हो गया है. So still they are saying that the net metering, the supply for the company, they are right now the net metering are not available with us. So it is 1.5 years. We have installed our solar panels, but still we are not getting any benefit from such installation. So this is the actual scenario. What we have, what we are reading in the newspaper, seeing in the electronic channel, or what is actually what is the format, but the real scenario is different. So I urge to all our students to come forward and try to protect your planet for the sake of your health. Again, we want to thank all the members present here. Again, I want to thank sir for coming in our college, and I hope the students will know medicine after the graduation of Oxford. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for always being so informative and relevant. We shall now have the invited lecture by Professor Lokhinarayan Chakraborty. Professor Chakraborty obtained his PhD degree in geography from University of Calcutta for his thesis entitled An Approach Towards Rational Water Resources Management of the Rupnaran River Basin, West Bengal. Professor Shalpati has an experience of teaching geography for about 29 years in schools, colleges, universities, and institutes of higher education in West Bengal. He has presented more than 150 research papers and chaired sessions in national and international platforms, of which the 32nd IGU conference in Cologne, Germany, 2012, the 8th IAG conference in Paris, France, 2013, and the PRSCO 2019 RSI in Bangkok are few which are noteworthy. Besides, he has been invited to deliver lectures in various faculty development programs of the UGC, ICSSR, ESD, NRDMS, etc. He has to his credit nearly 40 publications in the form of research papers and articles published in journals of both national and international review. His research and teaching interests include climatology, geomorphology, hydrology, environment, population development, quantitative geography, and curriculum development in geographical studies. He has edited a book on climate and society, a contemporary perspective published by the University of Calcutta in 2015. 17 scholars have already obtained their PhD degrees under his supervision, and 4 postdoctoral fellows have completed their projects successfully under his mentorship. He has successfully completed 2 UGC-sponsored research projects and organized 3 national workshops on climate science. Professor Shalpati is associated with a large number of academic and professional engagements. He has been the honorary secretary. He has been the honorary assistant secretary administration of the Geographical Society of India, Kolkata, since 2009, and has been elected the honorary secretary of the Indian Meteorological Society IMS Kolkata chapter for the period 2018 to 20. He has also performed the responsibility of chairman IPART committee to restructure the national government of India. He is the honorary editor of UGC recognized peer-reviewed biannual Indian Journal of Landscape Systems and Ecological Studies of the Indian Institute of Landscape Ecology and Statistics since 2017, and I can assure that we can keep anything for whose credit. We are deeply honored, sir, by your presence. May we take everything forward.
One like to we are fortunate to listen to a very nice introduction of our honorable principal, sir, Basu. In this hall, basically there are 3 generations present. One, those who are relatively senior, representing the X generation, Y, the middle ones, and Z, those who are sitting in the largest number. And the generation they are in the school, they are the alpha generation. And all these generations, they have their different kinds of demands, needs, orientations, aspirations, and there are certain conflicts and conflicts of interests. Now the main question is that whether we want Undami or Ananda, development or happiness. So the definition of development and happiness, they also differ in the different generations as well as different areas of the population distribution in the world. It is not that everyone has the same generation and their aspirations can be found at the same time, simultaneously. For example, X of India are basically a Y of US. It is not that X everywhere distributed in a similar manner, because these so-called development are also different at different points of time, different levels of achievement, different magnitudes, and all that. So this is number one. Secondly, population of the human population can be of different types. Population of animals, population of trees, they are also population. The total number in statistical terms we call them population, and wherever they we select some of them, they are called a sample. It is a sample population of the world, very small sample that is not basically representing the earth. Here we are gathering this sample in this one. Now, how many are the population, human population? So if I say 8.5 billion, 8.5 billion, what is a billion then? Then 8.5, how much that is? Suppose if I ask someone living in Antarctica, one scientist or Arctic region, some Inuit or some Yakut, or maybe some Eskimos, what does this 8.5 billion mean? No, it has no meaning. Even to us, even to religions, we don't have any meaning of this 8.5. Now, if I say it in a different manner, how long you require the total time to say hello to your fellow citizens, within the citizen of the earth, and it takes only 1 second, how many years you require? 200 years to say hello to everyone on this earth. By the time you proceed to say hello, we are not going to live, because we have to leave the earth by expected life expectancy path around 80 years in our country right now. So 257 for India, it is around 46 years. Okay, by that time very quickly now. Secondly, the total number of population living right now is more than the sum total of those ever born. This is again another interesting number here. Okay. Now, coming to the other things. So, is this population a resource? I ask, then if this total population is a resource, some people will say, no, it is not a resource, yes, it is a resource. Then comes underpopulation, overpopulation, optimum population, and you have learned all these in your population. Okay. So if I ask, one piece of land is available in Sahara, desert area, huge part of land, 100 acres. Is any one of you willing to go there if it is given? No. If I am going to give you a plot of land in some other area, 5 square feet, it is free. Everyone will go there. Why? Because there are people. So wherever there are people, there are connections. Buying and selling. That means I have something to give and you have something to get. Desire. This desire fulfillment is there all the time. That's why resource is being created. This give and take is everywhere in the entire earth, atmosphere, biosphere, hydrosphere, and noosphere systems. So what is this noosphere? This is the knowledge. Know is knowledge. Now, in this title, if I say that understanding climate, what is climate? It has something to meet, something having relation. We have something to relate. Okay. Then coming to resource. If I break this resource, that means something has to be sourced. Where from we derive our life support system, living. Then coming to this mankind. Man has to be kind enough. Otherwise, nothing. If we are unkind, then definitely something adverse is going to happen. Crisis. Cry, if I say CRY, crying everything, and cis is system, then systems are crying. How I am going to discuss. Okay. So today, basically, I am going to discuss about very practical notions, practical elements, and our understanding about. If I say, what is climate? Can you see climate? Can you feel climate? Is there anybody on this earth who can feel the climate better than us human beings? Is there any single instrument that can record the climate change or weather elements? No. But there is one. The trees, the plants, because they can't move suddenly. Only the human beings have certain adaptive units. We can even migrate. If there is a farm, we can migrate. If there is a cat plants migrate, not immediately, but yes, they migrate. But later on, slowly it will migrate to colonize a different kind of land. Okay. So these are happening. And it happens. So whenever we say climate and weather, sometimes they are very synonymous but not. Weathers are very momentary, and if we integrate, like integration and disintegration, if we integrate weather, that will make climate. So climate is a concept of geography because it has some geographical identity. Geographical भौगोलिक स्वतंत्रता ये है. So geographical identity, that means some geography has to be there. How geography is identified? Geography is identified mainly by the landscape. The physical landscape like the hill, plain, then the coastal area, this can be found. And everyone has climate marking. Now, there is another very fashionable word called climate. CLIME. It is a relevant region specific. So, climate of a region is the climate. CLIME. So, climate or climate word also came from something else. Climate. KLIMA. Climate means to incline. So, why this is slow? Because in ancient Greece, they have the idea that because of the latitudes, climate change. From one place to another, and these are a kind of slope. Yeah, it is curvature. If suppose the earth was flat, then what will happen? Then everywhere at the same time, wherever there is sun, everything is burning, there is nothing, no sun, it is a cold. Okay. Then coming to the interesting thing is the atmosphere. This atmosphere is very interesting because if there were no atmosphere, then what would happen? Suppose there is no atmosphere. Then the Earth's temperature would have been minus 18 degrees Celsius. You can calculate it using the radiation laws. These are all taught in the undergraduate and postgraduate levels. The radiation laws of Planck's, Kirchhoff's, and many other laws are there. So forget these laws. But the idea is that minus 18 degrees. Now how many degrees are there? On the average, before the Industrial Revolution, Earth's average temperature. This average is also very fascinating. How the average is calculated? Average is basically the mean of the available points, point data. But now there are so many data sets. Data sets are changed. Okay. Earlier the data points were less. Now data points are many. So average has changed. Precision and all that. These are all higher level. Forget all of it. But the most important is that 15 degrees Celsius. So because of this atmosphere, temperature has increased to -18 plus 15, 33 degrees Celsius. Okay, good. Now, atmosphere's physics and chemistry change. It is not that everything is constant. During the birth of the earth, it was different. After 200 crores of years, it was different. Now it is different. Before the industrial revolution, they were different, and it is going to be different. Because of all these greenhouse gases. Okay. So, from 15 degrees, 16.6 degrees, 1.6 degrees Celsius is increased because of the change in the atmospheric chemistry. Only that. Now, what is that chemistry change? When sulfate is formed, carbon dioxide. How much it has increased? 0.03 to 0.04. Only this part. If this part can lead to 1.6 degrees, now imagine if it is 30% or 0.03 instead of the 30%. Yes, it was. The primordial atmosphere, long back, it was 30% carbon dioxide. So where are all these carbon dioxide has gone? These have gone to the tree, gone to the lithosphere, eutrophication, carbonate, calcium carbonate. They are basically the carbon dioxide. Okay. Now, very interesting question is that we are burning coal. So we are feeding on the coal area. What we are basically doing, we are releasing the energy, the photons. These photons came 30 crore years back from the sun, stored in the starch, carbohydrate, we are burning and releasing. Now another question. There is a tank. One pipe is supplying water to fill it, and 4 pipes are there to release it, to empty. Now, if we block one pipe, then what will happen? There will be a surplus water. It will overflow. Same thing is happening in the atmosphere. The atmosphere is just like a window. It has certain colors to allow and disallow not all the energy may come. And those energy also comes in different blocks. Different blocks. Call them certain blocks. Small pieces. Okay. Now high energy comes almost at the visible band. Solar energy comes in a one pipeline because it has high energy. The force is very high. But as force, the pipeline through which it is going back, the force is less. That's why 4 pipes are required. One is very forceful. To discharge it, 4 pipes, because the pressure is low. You can recall that the sun electromagnetic spectrum, it is different from the sun is a very lesser kind, and that is a higher. How we can calculate it? We can calculate like this. Pi r square. Okay. Is the, yeah, of that point. Now, if R is the arc radius, that mass is come. And wherever it is falling, that area is going to be illuminated. Okay, so one side at a time it can, the side is done. That doesn't mean from the other side, the energy is not being lost. It is all the time. Wherever it is falling from, they are also coming. Wherever it is not falling, the sun rays, they are also emission is going on. Okay. So one pi square r square is coming and 4 pi r square is going back. Okay, because the area of the, so simple calculation 1 pi 4. Now we are blocking the pipe, just like cholesterol and hardening of the tissues blocking our arteries. Same thing is going on in the heart. Heart is a living object. Not very dry or enough. But the main issue is that energy is coming, being stored, slowly released. There are certain lag points of time, and then it is going back. If there were no blockage, then the equilibrium will change. Now, equilibrium has become disequilibrium because of this. So who has done this? Who has done this? Who is responsible? Is it the natural processes? Yes, partly. But that is a long cycle. And human beings is short cycle. How? Human beings have come to this earth from 10 lakh years. Human beings remained nomadic and hunters and gatherers for 2 lakh years. 2 lakh. I mean, 2 lakh years they have to rely on the natural products. Only on the forest, on the game animals. Only 12,000 years ago, agriculture started to be practiced. Only around 200 years ago, intensive agriculture had started. Only around 50 years ago, commercial green revolution type of agriculture has started. That means industrialization in agriculture has started. All the world. Then technological development. That population growth has become tremendous after the Second World War. After the decolonization of the country. Now, you can see that how the pipelines are becoming squeezed. The innovations that used to take place, suppose fire. So the innovations, even today, fire we are using, but AG, OG, 3G, 4G, 5G. How many years it took place? We started with pager, radio pager. I don't know how the name pager. This generation of alpha generation, they will not. Even in the picture, in the book, also, what is pager? Then all these gadgets are coming, new and new. That means intensification in a very smaller time frame is accelerating. That is itself. That is itself. Now coming to this climate and its resources. So long back, from 105 and 120, 1920, year 1920, the book was written, Climate and Civilization, by Ellsworth Huntington. This is called a deterministic school of thought. Determinism and then formulation of all the reasons you know right now, particularly the third year. So, Determinism basically started with climatic diseases. Climate controls the civilization. That was the fundamental statement. Okay. Now, how it happened? There was a statement that the Europeans are brilliant, they are very skillful, they are innovators because of the cool climate. And all the lazy people, they used to live in the humid tropics. They used to take so much of rice, and there is a bathroom, rice, post rice is in clean because of the alcohol, fermentation. It's very normal. Okay. So that's why they are lazy. But if I think in a different way, that suppose if there is a population 5 times of what is in this Europe right now, the total population is serious 5 times. And in India or in any South Asian countries, population decreases 5 times. What will happen? If the population of India is 20 crores, nobody has to work at all. You just sow seeds, or seed may be sown naturally, you just go and plant something. No problem. No problem, because we have throughout the year growing season. And only for 3 months. That's why Europeans started when agricultural revolution took place there. There is just a revolution. Population grows on higher, and because of that resources, they started moving around. They started conquering the exploration and conquering the new territories through various companies, and later on under the British government. Those were the colonization history. The history is basically history of resource exploitation. Now, climate determines food. Food is a part of culture. Food is not culture. If you go to South India, food is different. In the West India, food is different. Eastern India, food is different. You can have a demarcated line along our time zone. Indian time zone, the eastern part is the rice region and western part is wheat region. Only the southern part because there the climates are different. Okay, in Kerala and Bengal, they are more or less similar. That's why that is also rice, here is rice. It is not that they eat wheat, that's why they are different. That is a wheat region by climatic constraint or climatic advantage. All the trees, be it natural, the plant, be it natural or artificial, they take the advantage of the climate. Although in these days, due to various kinds of breeding methods, genomics, artificial engineering of the plant, is the seed. Now everywhere everything can be grown. In Mathura, apples are being grown. In Rajasthan also, they are growing apples. Earlier, the global warming is going on, then the apple lines are also going up, and in the mountain region, you know that the area will increase to go higher and higher. Less area will come because of this pyramidal structure of the mountain. Very of presumably. But the archaeologists, they have given some advantage that you can grow everything everywhere. So food security is now unlimited. Does it mean that food security and food sovereignty are the same? No. Climate advantage agriculture has some kind of distinctions. We call them GI, indication of that area. That is a specialty. Now specialty is gone. That means there is no advantage for permanenting has gone. So in place of security, permanency we have forgone. Now we can discuss in a different manner how climate can be resolved. But before that, how we perceive climate. Climate is a matter of perception in two directions. One is time, another is space. And this is very fundamental to geography. How? Suppose in any landscape, imagine, just imagine. Geography is more of imagination. Also, you have to imagine, otherwise you cannot do geography. Just is geography. Okay. So, in a landscape like this, what is it? Mountain to sea. This is what is this called? In geography, profile. Okay, a profile. Now, over a time period, it is remaining the same, more or less. It's not that all the time it is going to remain the same, because geological time scale operates in a different manner, geomorphological time scale operates in a different manner. But for a smaller time frame, other time frames, they are remaining the same. So T1, T2, T3, like T8. You can go on in this way. But the same setup, this is not physical landscape. Of the same setup, components are same, but the times are different. Now, climate of mountain, climate of plateau, climate of earth. There in between there can be so many kinds of climate. We can call them macro, macro, micro. These are all these. Okay. Macro is a very broader area. Micro is a smaller area. Suppose climate of Kilimanjaro. Is it a macro climate? No. It is a micro climate. Because it is located on the equatorial region. But it is not reflecting or representing the climate of equatorial region. So within a region, broad region, if there are other kinds of climate, then they are special climate or microclimate or even narrow climate. So it can be narrow climate also. Climate of, I can give an example, no problem. Like sun facing and sun shading area. Have you ever gone to Dalhousie? There are two sadaks, Thandi Sadak and Garbi Sadak. Thandi Sadak is rain or thunder, or इधर से गर्मी हो, वो गर्मी Sadak. But how much is the distance? It is on the same plane, same elevation. Okay? Elevation is same, locality is same, distance is also 2 meters. But it is the aspect of the sun that is different. That's why this may be called the narrow climate. Okay. How does it be reflected? The reflection is that on one side you can see the grasslands, on the other side you can find the pine trees. Very good. And this is some of the tree vegetation you can find on the sunset region. On the sunset region, only because desiccation takes moisture is being evaporated very quickly. How? The mountain is like this, sun is like this. So, it is directly hitting at a perpendicular way. That means more evaporation will take place here, and this side, no evaporation or less evaporation. That's why more moisture will be available on the other side. Okay, this is happening. Now, suppose we are traveling from Digha to Asansol, then Badrinath. How the climate seismic change. Still in this country, very hot, but there are winds. In the sea, near the sea, there will be winds also. What are these winds? Land wind and sea wind. Land breeze, sea wind. When the land breeze will come, land breeze is from the land to sea, because in the afternoon, sea is still warm. And in the daytime, land is warmer than the sea. So it will be a local reversal. In the New India also there are local reversals. We call them Ana and Kata. Ana up, Kata down. The same thing happens, okay, in our South India, West Bengal, Meghalaya, anywhere you can go in the whole. Now, slowly you are moving from Digha to here. How that will succeed? Are you going to see any change? No. Because it is a very subtle change. Very subtle change unless there are certain abrupt topographic change. So wherever there is complex topography, then the climate will be different. But if it is a vast territory, then effectively very slow will be the ratio. Okay. Now, how then we designate them? Normal and non-normal. Expected. Basically, climate is expected variations of the weather depending on our historical time series experience. Historical time series experience, we expect something. How? A person living in the Sundarban, he or she expects cyclone. But a person living in Hyderabad, no, cyclone is not there. Thunderstorm. Suppose here is Adanpur, we expect thunderstorm. But it is that most of the thunderstorms are expected in Asansol area or Kolkata area. Kolkata, why? Why? Because the thunderstorms are also living systems. If something originates, they try to leave. Anything like even Puri Chahida Ami Sunkar Purosya. Dina Chata. Everything wants to remain living. So why they are moving to Kolkata? Because Kolkata has Chakri, Nogri, CA. पढ़ने के लिए क्या चाहिए? एक थंडरस्टॉर्म के पढ़ने के लिए क्या लगेगा? क्या चाहिए? Moisture. Moisture. Because moisture is the food. Where from energy is coming. So everyone wants energy. And matter contains energy. We get food, we don't take energy directly, we take food, digested energy is released and we can work. Similarly, genesis of a cell, we call system. Okay, any atmospheric system that requires for genesis is required energy. First from the energy comes a moisture. To sustain it, again its food is moisture. That's why it moves towards water body. Have you ever heard a wall, very local eddy? Local eddy, EDD word, eddy. That's like ram. So good idea. और भूत कहाँ चला गया? भूत चला गया एक पेड़ के पीछे और कहीं पे एक तालाब के पास और उधर जाकर वो खत्म हो गया और पेड़ में चढ़ गया और नहीं तो पानी में गिर गया आपको क्यों? क्योंकि moisture is there. Why? Because in the daytime, even in the night, trees release more moisture than their breath. also in one body also more moisture is available. That's why they try to move that body. Okay. So any system, it will move to where the food is there. Anybody will move to whenever they are hungry to live, they will move to the source of energy. So now coming to that T1, T2, T3, Ts. Same landscape, but the climate is changing. This is called culture. This is called culture. How can we define? Climate change, almost every day there are 10 to 20,000 seminars, workshops, conferences, and publications are going on. And आप जो लिखता है वही पढ़ता है और एक दिन बाद वही नहीं पढ़ता। हाँ, इतना प्रोडक्शन हो गया इसके कॉलेज के ऊपर इंडस्ट्री, जो पेपर इंडस्ट्री बन गई। So what is the understanding? Even if we don't know, even if there is no person in this earth, science is there. Science is there. It is not that uranium, some radiation is taken from uranium. I know it, that's why it is radiating. No, it was radiating all the time. I have come to know this right now. Okay. In the same manner, all the systems are working. That's why you saw that the systems those which are operating today, they were also in operation in the past. And if we can understand the present, we can understand the past as well. This is called present is the key of past. Are you done with? Okay, fantastic. This is that. Now, climate of today, climate of yesterday, climate of day before, then, climate of change, number of past. It's called paleo climate. Now, very interestingly, Earth writes its own history. Earth writes its own history. How it writes? It has certain pains, pencils, some brushes. Who are these? They are the exogenetic and endogenetic. Okay? These forces, they are operating and that's why they are having some mass from it. Geography is the geography. Everyone wants to keep some Mars. Like a cyclone, some Mars. Okay, Mars what is it? Switching of the environment. Taking some parts and depositing somewhere. There is a cloud. It will erode somewhere, deposit somewhere. There is a wind. It will break some trees. Bring it to the localities, even और डाला को उखाड़ के लेकर एक पेड़ के ऊपर गिरा के रख दिया। अभी हम okay. In this way, the longer behind the phases are less. Phases are less. Why? Can you name the grandfather of your grandfather? Can you name? How of you? But if I say, take generation back, can you name your evolution? Hardly. In the same manner, it happens for the earth as well. Why? Because the same processes operating today were operating in the past, but meanwhile some other processes also came to operate. That's why if we see some parts of sub-Saharan areas where right now aeolian operations are operating, aeolian processes, these were actually areas of unique processes. Like our Rajasthan, Registan, below it, water marks are there. So lots of plant-related depositions in soil. These are all paleo signatures of paleogeomorphology. Now from geomorphology we can derive what? How we can? If there is a hyper, suppose there is a hyper, then আমরা বলি sorting, smaller size, medium size, larger size. If there is a Holzbahn structure, then the portion will travel to a longer distance. If suddenly we stop, what will happen? Suddenly stop. All the lithium will be there. If slowly, then bigger one, medium one, smaller. Now this year flood is very regular, very high, and the next year flood is less. It is also another natural phenomena that the higher the magnitude, lesser the frequency. It should happen because the smallest person should be one in this world. सबसे छोटा जो है वो भी एक ही होगा, है ना? और मीन के आसपास बहुत सारे होगा. If it is a normally distributed, then 68% will come within 1 second. Same thing happens in the natural world as well. Now, in the year of high flood, there will be thick deposits. In the year of low flood, thin deposits and smaller grains. Higher flood, bigger grains. Okay, in this manner we can go back to paleo flood. Now, this is called thin site. पीछे को देखना, पीछे को क्यों देखना है? क्योंकि एक्सपीरियंस से जो बनता है उसी के हिसाब से हम लोग एक्शन लेते. आप also take action on the basis of his previous experience. Okay. Now, this is called prognostication or forecasting. We can forecast. But, there is a but. History repeats itself, but not in the same way. History repeats itself, but not in the same way. Why not in the same way? Because all the remaining the same are not remaining the same. In economics, each one remains the same, then price and demand and all that. But each is not remaining the same. In the natural world, nothing remains the same. That's why non-linearity is the norm of nature. Non-linearity is not like y is equal to a plus bx. No, it never happens. It happens like this way, that way, that way. So if this could happen, everyone could be the rich in the same market. Because there are also highs and higher, also high, low. If this is a pattern, the same pattern will be followed. No, it is not be followed. There is a pattern, something called aberration. The parts have come a lot. Now, that means we can come to this point of understanding that climate are the usual and abnormal. But this abnormal or non-normal is a part of that normality. Then what we are worried about? Suppose each cyclone is born in the Sundarban region, then why we are worried about it? This is again a question. That means it is not a matter of statistics. It is not a matter of statistics only. The definition can be statistical. Statistics is experiential. Adaptation is very important. Adaptive definition. How is it? Suppose there is a pendulum, it is moving like this. One is D, plus, minus. We call it a pole. Now, then it will break and move. Okay. Point of no return. If something changes beyond its threshold, a new regime starts. This new regime requires new state of adaptation study. Now that is happening. That is happening. That's why we are worried. This is why we call, if within this century we cannot restrict within 2 degrees Celsius, then its fallout consequences will be such that in the next century there shall be tremendous chaos. Chaos means you cannot bring them to the order. It is called kind of crowd management. Network is also crowded, but it has certain regulations, rules, development ही कुछ श्रृंखला होता है। ये कौन बोला था? मंगली के सामने जंगल में भी एक रूल होता है, लेकिन जब जंगल में ये जीवन जंगल में जब हम फंस जाते हैं तो क्या और डिजर्व होते हैं। एंट्रोपी में यहाँ पे किसका नहीं, ये फैन जो घूम रहा है ना, इसका जब एंट्रोपी एक्टिवाइज हो जाएगा तो इसको फेंकना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि ये वर्क नहीं करेगा, तो ये वर्क नहीं करेगा। कैसे पता चलेगा कि ये वर्क नहीं कर रहा है? Because we have some changes in our group security path. Because our activities are in a pyramidal structure. Okay. Long back we started with hunting and gathering based on primary economics, then secondary, then tertiary, then quaternary, then quinary. Okay. Then dictionary. There can be many others in future. Because we require food, we require shelter, we require many other things, happiness. SDG not gone through that. SDG, Sustainable Development Goals. If you arrange the goals related to the base, it is like a pyramid. Those related to food, those related to our economic and social activities, those related to our personal happiness. So what is the ultimate goal in our life? What is the ultimate goal? I started with this. What do you want to be? Happiness. So where from we can derive maximum happiness? First, relation to food, relation to people, relation to nature, relation to universe. Okay, relation. Now, in this pyramid, if we take away something from the base, what will happen? For some relation, we are starting the another relation. This is called hydrogeochemical cycle. Okay. Hydrogeochemical cycle. What is the hydrogeochemical cycle? Have you gone through this USGS, United States Geological Survey? They have given one very beautiful picture of hydrogeological cycle. That's the model. And they have incorporated this anthropogenic issues as one of the components in this day. Now, to establish a kind of relation, we are cutting another relation. ठीक होता है ना? प्राकृतिक के साथ रिश्ता को खत्म करते ही तो नया प्रॉब्लम करते हैं। बहुत आगे आते हैं। यहाँ हम तो उधर खत्म, लेकिन ये आप कर दिया तो जो नेक्स्ट पीढ़ी का आएगा ना वो आपको भी डिस्टर्ब कर देगा। यही होता है नेचर में हमने if you are doing something here and forgetting something there also not taking care of it. It is called butterfly effect. Butterfly effect. Suppose somewhere if you like this and everyone wants like this, collectively that will create a huge under. Okay, because everything is connected to everything. Everyone is connected to everyone. As in the Obama, Bin Laden and Barack Obama both are our relatives. Yes, yes, that is so. So whatever religion and whatever system all are religion. And specifically Imam say, those who generation पहले बात नहीं थी, और दो हजार, okay. Now in this way, all these cycles, if there is block somewhere, we are actually cutting them. This is called anthropogenic intervention. Now, in the physical landscape or natural landscape, climate was different. In the cultural landscape, climate is different. How is it so? Because there again, there is a very interesting point here. We are talking about a time window of only 1 minute. 1 minute. Because human beings came to the earth 4 minutes ago. If we take the time span of the earth from its beginning to right now as 24 hours, then the human civilization is of 4 minutes. 4 minutes seriously. And this Anthropocene, that means post-industrial revolution phase, is less than 1 minute. Now think of all the people will die. Then we come. All the people will die. Think about the last person. The point of time will come when there will be only one person, one human being. ये सारे दुनिया का महाराजा विराट एक ही लोग होगा ना, तो लाडली हो सकता है और बाजी हो सकता है और कोई नहीं. Think about his condition. That poor fellow going to live on this earth single. But who will be their companion? Or it may be that some people will never die. Some people will never die. How can it be possible? Yes, it is possible. We live because we understand that we live. If our memory can be perpetuated, then we are it is possible. So your memory will be transferred to hard disk and hard disk to your brain. Point is that we are thinking about this century on. What is your point of interest? This is also again very important. That if you are now in a classroom for your exam purpose, you have to write down to get the mark what is happening in Alaska, what is happening in the Himalaya, otherwise the teacher is not going to give you mark. That's why out of here you are reading and writing. But if you are a common man, how much area is your point of contact? Your home, yourself, not yourself. Then your family, extended family, your neighborhood. Then I don't know. What else going on there? I have nothing to be worried about. And that is the reason for all these crimes. Why? If an American or a Chinese, they don't know or even they don't bother how a person of the street of Kolkata or Asansol living in the footpath, they are going to suffer due to heat stress or any kind of flood or maybe huge wind, high velocity wind. They are not going to suffer. But pollution doesn't maintain any boundary. Pollution doesn't maintain any boundary. You cannot establish strong military in the border, that no pollution don't come to us. The air pollution can move, can deny boundary. Although there are certain efforts are taking place to have the green wall. During the census program of government of West Bengal, a green wall is 20 feet. In next state, here in this border region of our city, so that the pollution from urban, mainly from the coal and dust and various things coming down to Kolkata. Because our view is mostly Kolkata centric. It is not. Kolkata people, they don't think anything around Asansol. It is very hard reality. I don't know how you are thinking about Kolkata people. That here Kolkata, it should not be down. Okay, you may read it, write it and get marks. But the Kolkata people, they are not either. In this way, that not in my section, NIPI syndrome. What we do? We start it, clean it in our house and then throw it. Okay? Isn't the same thing happening in our AC room? What we are doing? We are throwing our waste to the street. Who are living in the street? All the creatures, all the common people. So, the rich and poor. The hegemony of climate dialogue and hegemony of climate change. That is again a political and economic question. Tragedy of commons. Who are the commons? Commons are the lower class people. Now, interesting what is happening, that those who have the voice, they don't have the concern. And they are the suffering ones. Earlier, in this political economic situation, earlier there was enlightened middle class. And they had a very significant role in controlling the switch. The switch off, switch on in all the social processes. But now, if that intellectual, enlightened middle class is vanishing, they are pushed downward, intellectually rich but living at the margin, then as the burden is moving towards someone else, then what will happen? Happening is that from the climate agreement, the USA has backed out. Okay. Similarly, in our country, we have one advantage. For the next about 200 years, we have advantage in coal. No other sector. In nuclear, we don't have advantage because fuel is not there. Secondly, we have very large population concentration. So if there is one accident, thousands of people will be killed. Solar, only a very small patch. Then there is again another dilemma. If we have more production, there is nobody to consume. Bimodal situation is there. In daytime, there are maximum utilization. In the night time, there is there. During the festival, huge demand. During the other time, no demand. Now, fluctuating demand, and this is happening almost throughout the world. Much of pollution is related to our energy consumption, electric energy consumption. Very recently, Spain, Italy, even France, there were blackouts. And entire earth is going to be blacked out. If this kind of development trajectory is going on. Now think about another thing. If development is related to energy consumption, then historically the golden age of India, was there electricity? No. But now, the highest amount of electric energy consumption, how much is our productivity? collectively. Very little. Very little. So what it basically wants to give the message. The message is that we have to be unsynchronous. As much as possible, and be unsynchronous. Think about it. Are we the only creatures that uses technology? No. Many other creatures, the birds, the rodents, they also use technology. Nest is prepared, but they use it. People, birds, many others. How beautifully it is designed. Architecture is so complex. So human beings, instead of living climate synchronized habitat, so not every house has the same kind of habitat. Architecture should be produced. Earlier it was there. Posture heart, Pune heart. You know? There were so many things. That in these ways it was designed. But now all the boxes, the black box, and inside there are orange boxes. And we are volumetrically reducing the area where the heat could be equally distributed. This unequal distribution of heat is putting stress on the people at the street. The most exposure, earlier also, our 2-3 generations back, they used to work in the field untiringly. But can anyone stay in the field for 160 hours? No, it's not. So, we need to work with the sun, but we are not. That's why I have started with the generation statement. You are the custodian of this nation. Any of you are going to lead this entire nation. At least one person in this hall will survive to see the 20th century. Okay. And this century will decide the future of the next century. And girls will decide the future of humanity. Why? Because they are more nature-centric. Nature has tuned them to think in a natural way, rather than because culture is more masculine. Nature is more feminine. So if we have to synchronize it, first from the demand, kitchen. First the kitchen, second bedroom and wardrobe. If the demands of the girls are different, the males are the last animals to be tamed by the women. Yes. If you see our domestication of animals, history of domestication of the animals, man was the last animal to be tamed by women. So, if women are responsible, they are not made responsible. Okay. Thank you very much. So, if you have questions, let us discuss. बहुत सारे प्रश्न है even the technical question.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderfully delivery and also for speaking easy and time keeping to educate. Thank you so much. I hope your exact direction, sure your exact direction, but it's now time to take questions. Not just questions, anything that you would like to know, anything that you would like to pertaining to the topic. So, can we have questions, please?
This is more important. So starting with the girls,
and certain programs starting with the girls. So I would expect questions, especially specifically from the sixth semester, because you all have studied quite a lot of things that are discussed today. Any questions from the faculty present? You have a question?
Sure.
Well, it allows that the more advanced countries, they are exploiting the resources and the developing and the least developed countries are facing this threat. So, how can the evaporation of the climate change be possible? And even in this context, the Arctic region, it is becoming more predictable because of the increase in albedo. So, newer sources of energy are being exposed with critical minerals. And so in a way, it is opening the doors for energy security. So how it the balance, how we can make it.
There are two ways to see clearly. One way is the development of technology. That means technology was responsible for the problem. So through development of better technology, we have to solve. So whatever may be solar or nuclear or geothermal, so the energy and all that. This is one thing. Second is that covering the demand. That means responsible consumption and responsible behavioral pattern. So we cannot go back to the prehistoric level of our civilization. No, it is not possible. And we don't desire that also. So alternative lifestyle that can be designed and slowly is happening also. Because many of the people, they are not staying in the urban areas, they are moving to the rural areas. And in the rural areas, it mostly it is unsynchronous, even today, the energy consumption is less. Then we have to think about energy efficiency. So it is not a single technological treatment, but our institutional, behavioral, social, taking everything in a harmonious way. Society is a very deep, complex thing. And there are lots of certification, community structures, then there are also different kinds of review. Suppose some people have taken a path of development. At one point of time, Barack Obama said that America has done many wrong things. The developing countries, in the name of development, at a comparable level to the Americans, please don't do this. You find your own way of life. That was your own previously also. So happiness not to be derived from our consumption oriented lifestyle, rather responsible production, consumption and distribution. The economy should be very much tuned with our needs. That is the solution. It will not be possible in one day. It will take many generations. But the positive thing is that the change is also accelerated towards this direction. Earlier, to achieve the so-called development of emission oriented, now de-emission or rather net zero carbon production, that is balanced out one sector by the other sector. So it will take another around 50 years. After that, definitely population will come down very fast and it is happening. Earlier, everyone said that India, yes, India has overstayed our full time. Very recently, we are the number one in terms of population. So earlier, the focus was that India's population was projected to be 1.7 billion, like that, by the year 2070, like that. But we have already achieved replacement level. In some of the states, the growth rate is even less than 1. So, and it is visible, the girls are not marrying. And there are very low number of TFR. This year TFR value has come down to less than 2. But 50 years back it was 5. So how the population is declining very sharply, even in the demographic transition of the world, we expect that within the next 20-30 years there shall be a demographic collapse. How that is going to happen is reducing middle class. The middle class was the producer of population. Because in the lower level, high fertility, high mortality. In the higher level, low fertility, low mortality. In the middle level, high fertility, low mortality. Those are the contributors of population. So this is the indication that the world is going to have a change. And in the geopolitical terms also, the leadership was first in the West, first in the Europe, then went to the US, then came back to the Far East, and now it is global south. And where the population is more, if the leadership comes in the population rich region, where the demographic dividend is also going to be harnessed, definitely a positive result is taken.
Thank you very much. We have another question from one of us.
Yes. Your name is Rahul.
My name is Krishna and I'm from Nagaland and from Egypt, second year. So as we told that COVID will decide the future and we have more emotional connection to the environment. So my question is why females not me?
Oh, nice. That's the last, in my last question.
Yeah.
That was there, but that is not the all. But okay, earlier the women's position in the society was in a backseat. Okay, in the backseat. But more and more numbers of girls, they are coming to take social position. They are taking charge of the family of an institution, and perhaps the most important institution in our society is family. If the family are healthy, the nation is also going to be healthy. Okay. Secondly, in all the political and economic institutions, the participation of women are becoming larger in number. And if time will come, in some of the sectors of decision making, they will surpass the male. Because male power is going to be more on the muscle groups, where the human energy is more important. But where the intellectual energy input will be required more. And if the girls are capable enough to do that, and it is expected in many of the countries, you see that in European countries, in the US, many of the key positions are now being held by our women leaders, our Mamata Banerjee, for example. He is leading a state. Okay. And there is no opposition. Nobody is there. Now you can think, if you are intellectually correct, the power will automatically come to you. And don't take it otherwise, women can manipulate. Women have the advantage to manipulate. That's why women were worshipped throughout the history. Even for the purpose of having a company, a male creature in the animal world has to perform better to impress her. Why? Why? Because they have some inherent power of discipline. This discipline is there, inbuilt in the girl. Now, if their physical character and mental character is nourished with proper education, they have more leadership power than them. And we expect that in this century, at least they are moving forward to take care of much of the share of all the intellectual domain, all the institutional leadership, and if they fail, the civilization will fail. If they succeed, the civilization will succeed.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, sure, sure, please. You recognize the fact that the human being at the least biggest to survive compared to the other living creatures. You agree with this? Okay. This is an interesting question that why human beings could come to this place to master over everyone, over everything. The custodian of the world. You see, there are two elements. One is the natural, that means genetically coded. So all the animal behaviors, they are naturally coded. So it is not that Baba Singh asking the son to go to your maternal house to learn something, how to hunt. But human being can transfer the learning, transfer the wisdom. Everyone not has to taste whether it is a poison or something eatable, because we have come to know from our culture. So everyone has come to be for the survival. This learning is a journey. It is eternal, and this is our strength. This is the strength. And all the technological developments, all the science, and everything it comes through this wisdom. That means a very refined memory that connects everything, that filters out the noise from the regularity or the direction. So, in this way, we can transfer this. We can develop our learning and transfer the learning in a better way, in an improvised way. So the chances of survival is better in human beings because of this technology. Language is also technology. Communication is also technology. The communication is not there in other animals. Other animals mark their territory by the pheromones and many others, by their repeater. But human beings, they can sense it out. Even there is no sense. Then human beings can connect with the virtual world and the physical world, but the animals cannot do it. They roam around only with the physical world. Yeah, they have the memory, no doubt about it. They have the memory. They can also have the images as well. But the humans are quite superior to it. So the chances of human is more, but the artificial intelligence, homo robotics, and all that those who are coming in the pipeline, maybe that they will conquer.
Any other questions? And please feel free to ask in English.
We have a little bit deviated from the climate issue. Yes, we are. We can discuss about the climate. if there is any question on that also. Anyway, if they think silly or foolish questions are not always silly.
Questions are always questions.
Why?
Foolish or not so foolish.
Sometimes the best question comes from the bad question. It happens same way. Because usually the best friends, they used to stay at the bad question. This is not my statement, it was a statement of APJ Abdul Kalam. That if you look to the last page, you can find the best friends to be there. The advantage is that being at the last page, you can see everyone. Okay.
It's not,
Common sense is also not so uncommon. Okay. You can also have some common sense questions as well.
yes, this will.
ये मौका बाद में नहीं मिलेगा मौका को चुकना देना नहीं चाहिए हाँ ये तो बोलना चाहिए ये बोल सकती
Here, one more question.
yes please
Earlier you told us that the rural area, they are consuming less energy, but we have seen that there is a very demographic shift in migration and then the computerization is also happening in the rural area. So what is the future for the resilient agriculture and the influx of the genetic crops that India is taking a control of it?
yes no crop is natural not even a single plant is natural much everyone has got some kind of intervention historically either through plantation or agreeing. It is not that genetically, genetic engineering in the laboratory or maybe in the nature. So, crossbreeding is also kind of genetic engineering. Now, all the plants that we are cultivating in the East, they are crossbreeds. Okay. To overcome the food insecurity. Earlier in 70s also we had to import wheat from Pakistan. Can you imagine? From Pakistan we have to import wheat, and right now Pakistan is, we have to give something, even if they are outside US, we supply food to them. Okay. Now this Yojana food, free food to everyone below the poverty level. Why the government is so generous? You know, because we have no go down to store additional food for the next year. Whenever there is food coming to the market, that means harvesting time, we have to keep the best grades in the stores. That's why it has to be empty. So where this will go? Either you have to dump it or give it to some other country or give it to free to our people. So that there are certain surplus money and that surplus money can go for some other activities. Okay. Now the question of urbanization in rural areas. This is a very important point. We have 6,20,000 villages in our country. Now, if 1 hectare of urbanization has taken place during the last 10 years in the rural areas, then actually 6,40,000 hectares area we have added in the rural areas and urban areas. Now, the albedo and local heat storm and the dynamics of the atmosphere has also changed in the rural areas. But compared to the urban areas, in the metropolitan cities or the tier 2 like the district towns and all that, even when the open space, we call it sky view factors. That means it's a very interesting story. Let's say, suppose there is a vertical and there is a multi-story. So when the sun ray is coming to this direction, it's reflecting back to this. So this is like, in this way, the radiation is taking place. But in rural areas, the sky is open. That's why albedo is more. So even if urbanization is taking place in the rural areas, still Due to more albedo in the rural areas, the heat stone is open to build. That's why you need not have ventilation in the rural areas on the national position. But in urban areas, fans are no longer sufficient. If you have money, you have to purchase it. And there are some demonstrating issues also. Buying it, demonstrating buying. If they have, why don't we have? Okay. So this is happening.
Any other questions?
Yeah, please.
Yes, like please migrate for 20 kindly introduce yourself. Third finding is critical as the answer of geography leadership department of the students. Sir, my question is that we used to term that please migrate but slowly. So I didn't understand how.
Okay. Not the state plants. Although there are private plants which can migrate with a state-based germination. Okay, chain. Suppose the one chain is done, and from that chain, it can grow. Okay. This is one kind of migration. Another is to switch. So whenever there is an advanced climatic or rather habitat, habitat is not all the climate, but majority climate. That's why soil in ecology, you know that P is a function of P and over P. Okay, the climate has been told the parameter. Now all these moisture, then organic material and its transportation, everything is covered more or less by climate. Now if it becomes saline or if it is drought or in drought prone area, so hydrophyte, xerophyte and many other sort of things, they will be replaced by some others. This is called the ecotone area first. Then the climate will come. So one will be replaced by the other and it will cycle up to a point when the climatic stability will remain. When there is a change in the structural limit, then definitely new species will come. That is called migration. It is a temporal migration.
If not, any other questions? If not, then may I please request the convener of this program, Dr. Subrata Mondol, Assistant Professor, Department of Geography and Leadership, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Our introduction video is a honor and pleasure and privilege to deliver a vote of thanks on behalf of the Department of Geography University, Mandaja Social College. With the inviting at the thought-provoking special lecture on understanding climate as resource to you guys and its responsible guys. First and foremost, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to our distinguished professor and speaker, Christian Sofisha, for taking time to be with us today and for sharing a deep insight on a topic that is not only timely but also critical to our global future. And here we will talk about the concept of climatic system and its close connection to different physical components of our environment, causes and consequences of climate change. The talk has illuminated the profound connections between the environmental crisis and its far-reaching social impact, inspiring us to think about anything beyond the classroom and to the real world where sustainable and climate resilient adaptation strategies are are delivering. Your important session have sparked thoughtful reflections among our students, scholars, and faculty members. We are especially grateful for the way you simplify complex issues and encourage a multidisciplinary perspective, something our academic community has seen. I would also like to thank our respected principal sir, Mr. Vijay Okoshi, and respected Marker sir, Mr. Kurimal Ghosh, IQAC members, and technical committee members, and developmental faculty members for their support in making this event successful. One thanks to all to participate for the to all and the participants for their enthusiastic presence and engagement. Let us carry forward today's lecture with a sense of responsibility and urgency as scholars, educators, and future leaders. Thank you once again to Mr. Alonso for your gracious presence, your wish and your wisdom. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.
For the formal vote of thanks, I would also informally thank all the faculty members from different departments who have come and graced the occasion, and of course our students. With due permission from Principal Sir, I would like to conclude today's program. Thank you all.